I'm going to quickly get into this intro. Hello, I hope everybody's doing well. You guys have asked me for an Oracle and Tarot collection. Honestly, you guys have just asked me like, oh, what deck is that? Ooh, which deck is this? And to be honest, you guys, like I can't get back to everybody on which deck is which, especially when I'm uploading multiple videos a week. I don't always remember which decks I'm using. So from now on, if you guys have a question about a deck, I'm just going to refer everybody to this video. I gave as much information as I could on each deck and where I got it from. So yeah. Also, I just want to state before we get started, you guys, that nobody needs this many tarot decks. I only have this many tarot decks for you guys. Half these decks I would probably get rid of if I wasn't doing YouTube, if I wasn't doing these readings for you guys, because I only resonate with certain decks here, right? I don't resonate with all these freaking decks. So keep that in mind. Here's the video. Enjoy. Love you so much. Here. Starting off, you guys, I just have this basic tarot deck. It's literally just called Tarot Deck, okay? I believe I did get this off of Amazon, you guys, and I don't shop for tarot decks on Amazon anymore. That's just my personal preference, but this is all the original artwork, you guys. And to be honest, if you are a beginner, this is what I recommend for you guys to get. I know it's not the prettiest or the most vibrant or this or that, but honestly, starting off with the original artwork really does help you learn the definitions. It really does help you learn how to understand the cards. So that is another tip I want to go ahead and give you guys in regards to learning tarot. Do not get a pretty deck, okay? I made that mistake when I jumped back into tarot. I got a deck that I thought was really pretty and I couldn't read it for the longest time. And as soon as I picked up the original artwork, it came to me a lot quicker, you guys, okay? So please, please, I know it's not fun. I know it's not the most glamorous deck, but it is necessary, I think, to learn. Obviously, you can learn on anything, but I just think that this is the best way to learn. So, okay, I'll pick that up later. But you guys get the, you get the drill. You get the idea. Like I said, I did pick this up on Amazon. Most of my decks here are either from Etsy or local shops that are around me. The next tarot deck I'll go ahead and talk about, you guys, is the Ancient Italian Tarot. Sorry, my throat. When I got this deck, I think I got this deck last year. And when I got it, I really, really loved it. And now I just never find myself using it. I do love the ancient vintage aesthetic of this deck. I did pick this deck up at a local shop that was near me, you guys, and obviously I'm not going to share like my location, so sorry about that. Honestly, you guys, if you were learning tarot, this would also be another good deck to get. I do think it is slightly confusing. The wands and the swords are a little bit confusing, but other than that, it basically sticks to the original artwork. The Tarot of Adult Magic. I never use this deck. Sometimes I'll use this deck if I'm doing like an adult reading, but to be honest, I don't use this as a tarot deck. I use it more as an oracle deck. But moving along, okay, I'm gonna mispronounce this, and I know everybody gets so irritated when I mispronounce things, but it's the Bianco Nero Tarot. Okay, this is one of my favorite decks, you guys, because it is black and white, which I think leaves a lot of room to add color in your mind's eye. Use your imagination. This is why I love this deck so much, because everything is in black and white and there is no color, so I feel like you can kind of fill in the lines yourself. But yeah, this also correlates with the original artwork of the original Rider-Waite deck, so I like this again for beginners. It's a good deck. I don't remember where I picked this up on, you guys. I might have picked this up on Amazon as well. But if you are interested in this deck, then obviously I would just Google the Bianco Nero Tarot, however you say that. This next deck I'm going to go ahead and talk about, this is the Cosmic Tarot. I think the imagery of this tarot deck is absolutely beautiful. I don't use it very often for no other reason than when I first got it, it had like water damage and it smelled like mildew, which is a little gross. It doesn't smell like mildew anymore. I had it laying in some salt for quite a while, but I just don't pull it out as much as I probably should. I think I also picked this deck up on Etsy, you guys. All right, we will go ahead and talk about the Shadow Escape Tarot. A lot of people ask me about this deck. I did pick this up on Etsy, you guys. This is not, I don't believe this artwork is like a small business owner, but the artwork here is so beautiful, you guys. It's very whimsical. It's very ethereal. It reminds me of almost like a Ghibli film, kind of a Ghibli studio film, right? Kind of. It gives me very like Spirited Away vibes, very Castle in the Sky, very Howl's Castle. Love it so much. Now I will talk about my meanest deck, and if you guys have tarot cards or oracle cards, you guys know that there are some decks that just give it to you real rough and hard, and they're just brutal as hell. Funny enough, my pink deck is the meanest deck that I have. It's the most brutal deck I have. If I want to know something, I don't pull out any other deck. I pull out my pink deck because this deck will get my ass together real quick, okay? So this is the OK Tarot deck, you guys, and I did pick this up on Etsy. I believe they were selling it. Here we go. I believe they were selling it at Urban Outfitters for the longest time, and it was like limited edition, and then I wanted to get it when I was there and I didn't end up getting it, so then I went on Etsy and I found it and I was like, oh. And I don't see this deck going around that often. I don't think a lot of people are attracted to this deck, but it really is, like I said, my most violent deck that I have. Even though it's pink and cute and simple, it is my most brutal deck. Again, if you guys are just starting out, I wouldn't recommend this deck because it is a little bit more difficult to understand because the imagery is more simple, and I do think that it's, again, easier to read when the imagery is more true to the original artwork. The deck I'll go ahead and talk about is the Crystal Visions Tarot. Again, I picked this up on Etsy, you guys. I feel like everybody has this deck. It's a freaking gorgeous deck. For a long time, this was one of my favorite decks until I recently picked up one of my other decks. But again, very whimsical, but I don't use this deck as much as I used to. Definitely still do recommend. Again, the artwork may be a little bit off from the original Rider-Waite, so it may be a little bit more difficult to read, but not too much. This is the Everyday Tarot deck, you guys, and I think that this has some of the best imagery for like learning tarot. I think it's very simple but self-explanatory, and the imagery I feel like matches up pretty perfectly with the original artwork as well. So yeah, I would recommend the Everyday Tarot, especially if you are a beginner. It's small and compact, and especially if you're not comfortable with shuffling, this is the deck, okay, you guys? This is the deck, okay? It just freaking is. I don't know if this deck is still in circulation, you guys. I haven't seen it very much, but this is the Black Tarot deck. I did pick this up at a local store. I really, really love this. As some of you may know, black is my favorite color, so I do tend to gravitate towards decks that are a little bit darker. I know all these are like super light and happy and like hoo, but I personally, like, when I'm doing a reading on myself, I like to use decks that have more imagery like this. Anyways, I think this imagery is freaking gorgeous. I think it's freaking stunning. It is a little bit darker. It is a little bit more gloomy, okay? Everybody had this deck for a while. I feel like when this came out, everybody was like getting it. The only thing I enjoy about this deck is the diversity in this deck, and it gives me very much like LGBTQ friendly, specifically like for the women who like women, which is what I love about this deck. I don't use it very often because it feels very like, I don't know, it just feels a little ooh, and I don't know, when I'm doing readings, I just feel like I want a deck that has more depth to it, but it's a cute little deck. Again, if you are starting out, this does go by the original Rider-Waite art, so it's a great beginner deck as well. One of my favorite decks, you guys, and again, people have asked me a lot about this deck, is the Field Tarot deck by Hannah Elizabeth Foana. I'm so sorry, Hannah, okay, but like, love your deck, girl. I'm sure you're not watching this, but love this deck. This deck is stunning. For a while there, I was using this in like every reading because I was just obsessed. I was like, oh my god, stop. It's freaking gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I do think the imagery might be a little bit difficult if you are newer. However, if you know tarot, if you know how to read it, it's pretty simple. But beginners, again, I would stray away from this deck. Anyways, freaking gorgeous. I love this deck. It's definitely one of my favorite decks. Okay. I am in love with this freaking deck. And so many of you, every time I use this deck, I always get questions about it. It's the Naked Heart Tarot by Julian C. Wilde. Okay. Julian, is it Juliana? It might be Juliana. But it is so freaking stunning, you guys. This is most definitely my favorite deck. I would purchase this deck 100 times over. If I lost this deck tomorrow, I would replace it. It's this deck, you know. You guys have seen me use this a lot, especially recently. I've been using this all the freaking time in my readings. I'm honestly probably going to end up purchasing another deck, another spare deck, just to have on tap, because I'm so freaking obsessed with this deck. I think it's gorgeous. The imagery, look at that justice. Ooh, Libra energy, hello. There it is. Okay. So this next deck I'm going to talk about, you guys, is a deck that every time I use it, I get questions about it, and people have gotten like attitudes with me because I've been like not answering where this freaking deck is from. And it's nothing personal, you guys, but I have answered this question like multiple times, and it's exhausting, so I'm not going to keep doing it. This is the last time I'm going to talk about this deck. I will never use this in a reading again because people get so like, I don't know, very like, oh, you owe me an explanation on this deck. And I'm like, girl, I've given it 20 times. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I actually don't have the name of this deck, you guys. I did buy this on Etsy. They are not making this deck ever again, you guys. Like, this is not a deck that you guys can go out and buy. It was limited edition. It's not coming out again. There's that. And I know that sucks, you guys. Like, I wish that this was not limited edition, because I'm telling you guys, I would buy multiple of these because I love this freaking deck. She had a bigger version as well that I really freaking wanted, and it was like $100 and something. And at the time, I was like, oh, I don't really want to spend like $130 on a deck. Like, maybe I'll just wait. And then by the time I was like, okay, I really do want this deck, it was sold out. And I was like, that's what I get for waiting. So yeah, guys, if I knew, if she had more, I would let y'all know, because this is a beautiful deck and I do highly recommend it. But yeah, we have the Threads of Fate, the Weaver Tarot. This is my newest deck. I actually haven't even shuffled this deck yet, you guys. I haven't cleansed it. I haven't done anything with it. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. Obviously, this is a more like luxurious tarot deck. I believe I paid like $85 or $87 or something like that for this deck, but it's definitely well worth it. The cardstock is great. The box is great. This is obviously stunning imagery. You know what? This video has taught me. I have too many freaking tarot decks. I have too many freaking oracle decks for sure. Nobody needs this many oracle decks. Nobody needs this many tarot decks, you guys. This is a little bit of a lot, you know? So we have the Oracle of the Mermaids by Lucy Cavendish. I hope your last name's Cavendish, girly. If it's not, I'm so sorry. But I like this deck, you guys. You know, I don't really use this as much anymore. But, you know, it's a gorgeous deck. It's a beautiful deck. If you're interested in this deck, I highly recommend it. I do believe I picked this up from Etsy, you guys. Again, I shop on Etsy far too much, okay? Like, far too much. It's a little bit of an obsession. The next one we have here is Beyond the Lumiere card. Oracle cards by Izzy Ivy. Is it Izzy? I hope it's Izzy. Here, let me like... By Izzy Ivy. Homegirl. Beautiful deck. This deck, you guys, is gorgeous, okay? I don't use this very often because I feel like it's good for very specific readings, but it is a gorgeous deck. I do recommend this deck. It's stunning, beautiful, very insightful, especially if you're doing like a spiritual message. We have the musical oracles, which, like this deck, love this deck. Again, I don't use this deck very often. I usually use it when I'm doing like a what do they look like type of reading. I don't know how I would incorporate this into a personal reading, but if you guys like music and you're into especially like old music or music from not this time, then I think this deck is really great. The sayings are super cute. Like Cher's is, nothing becomes a legend more than not giving a damn. This might be made by Lawrence King, you guys. I'm not sure. I think it says Lawrence King. I got this deck on Amazon. Oh, okay. I'm so embarrassed to show you guys this. Okay, we have The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein, Mandela. Gabrielle Bernstein. Now, no, like, disrespect to Gabriella. There was a time and a place for this deck, you guys. This deck, though, gives me like PTSD of my spiritual awakening and when I first started, and I was very much like, oh, love and light, which we love the love and light people, the girls and the boys who are love and light. However, there was a point in my spiritual journey where that was it became very, very toxic for me, and that is just not the energy that I aim for anymore. So yeah, that's what this deck gives me. Very love and light, very like toxic positivity. I mean, it's a cute deck, you guys, you know what I'm saying? And again, no hate to the creator or anything. I think this is a really great deck, especially when you're just starting out. There is a time and a place for love and light, right? So there's a time and a place for this deck. It's just not a deck that I ever use in my readings anymore. I'm not sure if I will ever use it again. We have A Soul's Journey by James Van Praagh. So sorry, I suck so bad at pronouncing names, you guys. I apologize. I highly recommend this deck, you guys, especially if you were interested in doing group readings or even just general readings or even personal readings, you guys. Like, I really love this deck. I think it's very versatile. The cardstock is great. There is a variety of different messages in there, which is what I personally look for when I'm getting, it's what I personally look for when I'm getting an oracle deck. I want something that's versatile. I want something that's a little bit like, it has a little bit of everything, because if it has a little bit of everything, then I don't have to use so many different decks. So this deck right here, definitely a staple. Definitely pick this up if you don't have it in your collection. I highly recommend that deck. I think I got this from Amazon, you guys. I might have picked this up in store. I might have picked this up in a store, but I'm pretty sure I've seen this on Amazon as well. All right, now I did pick this up at a store, and this is Conscious Spirit Oracle Deck, written and illustrated by Kim Dreyer. Okay, we will, right there, Kim Dreyer. A beautiful deck, especially if you are doing a reading on yourself. I'm not sure how I really feel about doing or using this deck on other people. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying, like, for me personally, when I use this in a group reading or even a personal reading, it kind of like throws me off a little bit. So I pull it out very rarely, but when I do feel called to pull it out, I do feel like the messages are always very like needed. Oh, okay. We'll talk about this deck because I love this deck. You guys see me use this deck all the time. This is the Archetype Decks by Caroline Mays. Caroline. Love this so much, you guys. You've seen this a million times. I'll just show you one card because, you know, I'm showing you guys cards so you guys know which decks I'm talking about. It's this deck with like the archetype. I love it. It's so freaking gorgeous. It's so versatile, you guys. I could use this deck in every single reading and it have some relevance for every single reading. Like, I'm not kidding. I have been trying to like back up from it lately, but staple. I picked this up on Etsy. You can also pick it up on Amazon, I'm pretty sure, but I have the Spirit Animal Oracle deck as well, you guys. Now, here's the thing, and this is the Wild Unknown by Kim Kranz. Like elephant, yeah, wise, strong memory, a horse, perhaps movement, perhaps energy, perhaps pushing through something, right? But like, I don't know, a bee, someone who's a worker. I love this deck though. I think it's gorgeous. All right, we got the Spirit Animal Oracle, or the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Love this deck, you guys. This is more of a readable animal oracle deck, you guys, because there are little descriptions at the bottom of the deck. Like, we have the Rhino Spirit, and it says overcome obstacles. You guys see, like, you know, and then you can imagine, like, the rhino pushing through an obstacle, and you're like, okay, that makes sense. We have the Nightingale Spirit, and it says love is all around you. I did pick this up at a local metaphysical shop near me. We have the Love Whisper Oracle deck by Angela Hartfield, artwork by Jophine Wall. Love this deck, you guys. I do recommend this deck very much so. It is a very useful deck if you are somebody who is interested in doing love readings on yourself or other people. The artwork, I think, is so deep and so meaningful. I really connect to this person's artwork. It's freaking gorgeous, and I just feel like there's so much depth to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can stare at it for such a long time, and you can see so much unfolding as you continue to stare at it. I really recommend this deck. Again, it is The Whispers of Love by Angelina Hartfield and Jophine Wall. Yeah, I don't remember where I got this. When I bought this deck, I was buying a bunch of decks, and I just don't recall. Obviously, you guys can type it in Google. I'm sure Google will have it pop up. We'll talk about these. Everyone has these decks, so I feel like it's kind of silly to talk about. These are the Work Your Light Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell. Both of these are by Rebecca Campbell. This one is artwork by Danielle Knoll, Starseed, and Work Your Light. Everybody has these decks. I adore these decks so much, you guys. And I know I was talking about the Universe Has Your Back deck being very love and light, and I know these seem very love and light, but there are heavier cards in here, you guys, that I do feel like encourage people to be pushed. Especially when I'm doing like my own reading on myself. I love, love, love these decks. They're not overly positive, but they're not, you know, it's not like you need to get your ish together every other card. I don't know. I feel like it's very balanced. I know some people may disagree with me, but I love, love, love these decks. Definitely staples in my collection. I would replace these immediately if I were to lose them. So I picked both of these up on Amazon, you guys. This is Sea Melodies by Jessica Lee. Okay, and this is Language of Flowers by Charlene Darcy. Okay, I actually picked this one up on Etsy. This one Amazon, this one Etsy. I do love both of these decks, you guys. I do highly recommend both these decks. For reference, they look like this. Okay. That's what they look like. Very cute, you guys. I'm trying to rush because I realized how many more decks I have to go through. And we have been filming for 13 minutes, and this is just the Oracle portion. The next deck we'll talk about is the Hidden Truth Oracle. I did buy this on Etsy. I do believe this is a small business that I got this from, because not all of these decks that I got on Etsy are necessarily like small businesses. I think a lot of them are like resale, but this is the one where it's like, I unconditionally love you. You guys have seen me use this in many of my readings. Highly recommend if you guys are interested in doing love readings on yourself or other people. We have the Prism Oracle, and it says tap into your magic, or tap into your intuition with the magic color, by Nicole Pivarato, I don't know. But this is that deck where it's like, ooh, dang, I'm just throwing cards everywhere. Where it's like Ghost. This is my favorite card, you guys. This is such a freaking cute card, little Ghost. All right, it's got this back. All right, we'll see another one. Protection, okay. We have the Green Witch Oracle, again by Charlene Darcy. I'm so sorry. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I know that's a gorgeous name. It really is. I just can't read, so my bad. It's this deck with the green back, you guys. It's really love this deck. I use this deck often. It's a staple. Highly recommend. We have the Spellcasting Oracle cards by Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara Michael John. Okay, super cute. I don't use this deck as much as I used to, but I do still like it for certain readings. Okay, it's cute, it's cute. Well-being. Oops, I'm just a mess. I'm trying to show you guys, okay? Clarity. It's a cute staple. If you guys have a lot of Oracle decks, though, I do think that this deck is very similar to a lot of Oracle decks I already have. I bought this because it came out on my birthday, and I just thought that was so cool that it came out on my birthday, so I was like, oh, I have to, it's meant to be. We have the Amenti Oracle deck, Ancient Wisdom for the Modern World. Who made this? Illustrations by Natalie Miller. Damn, Canada. Designed by Joshua McDonald. Canada, you guys have to pay so much for your freaking decks. Anyways, there you go. This is the deck. All right. Ooh, and here is the artwork on the back. I don't even gotta take the cards out. You guys see? You guys recognize these cards? Lover's Oracle deck, you guys. This is the deck where the cards are shaped like hearts. Super cute, super cute. Highly recommend this deck, you guys. I did buy this deck on freaking Etsy. The artist is Tony Carmine Serlono. We have the Divine Doors deck by Andres. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name, but the Divine Doors. All right, love this deck, especially if you're doing readings on yourself, you guys. I do use these in group readings sometimes, but doing readings personally and on yourself, I do love this deck. It has a bunch of like doors. I got tickles. Now see, a bunch of doors. Door. Love it so much. People were asking about this one for a while. This is the Fin D Sicily Kipper fortune telling deck by... Nope, I'm so sorry. Ma'am or sir, I can't pronounce that. I will try to... Ooh, you see that? That is their name. Beautiful name. I just can't pronounce it. This is that deck. Love this deck so much. It's gorgeous. Okay, again, this is another staple, you guys. I would highly recommend this into your collection if you don't already have it. We also have Under the Roses by Kendra and Katarina Hill. Okay. This is the one that has like the clover, the sickle. I love these mini decks as well because I can bring them in my purse, which I do bring like mini decks in my purse sometimes. So, super cute. I never use this deck. You guys have probably never seen me use this deck. I used it way early in like videos I did maybe like a year or two ago. But this is the Wild Offering Oracle by Tasha Silver. I don't know why I stopped using this deck. I guess because it's kind of similar to the Universe Has Your Back deck. The next cards I have here, you guys, is the Soulmate cards by Tony, Carmine something. So sorry, Tony. But these are the Soulmate cards, you guys. And these were actually gifted to me by a friend of mine, and I have no idea where he got them. But these are the little, like, letters. For example, your smile illuminates my soul. It makes me feel whole. There's no part of me that your love cannot fill. It's this deck. Which I love this deck for love readings, you guys. Love it, love it, love it. We have the Vintage Wisdom Oracle by Victoria Mosley. This is a stunning deck, you guys. I don't use this deck very often publicly, but I do use this privately. I don't do private readings as of right now for people that I'm not... I do private readings, but I'm not selling private readings at the moment, right? So if you see me in person and you want a reading, if I have a deck on me, I'll read for you, but I'm not like selling my readings right now. Anyways, point is, I love this deck for my private readings. It's stunning, it's gorgeous, the imagery is everything. I just really connect to it. There are certain decks that I just connect to and certain decks I don't. This is one of the decks that I really connect to. We have True Love reading cards by Belinda Grace. Illustration by Lori Banks. Okay, this is one of my favorite Love Oracle decks, you guys. It's so freaking cute. Look at this packaging. I'm a sucker for packaging and like aesthetic. Gemini rising out here, okay? So yeah, anyways, love this so freaking much. Freaking gorgeous. This is the Unicorn Oracle deck, the Oracle of Unicorns. I do recommend this deck, you guys. However, there are other decks that I connect to more, but if you really like unicorns and you're really into that whole whimsical vibe, I would suggest this deck. But for me personally, this deck just is like an every once in a while type deck. You know what I'm saying? This next deck I got is from Etsy, is the Hearts and Hidden Secrets Oracle, and the Etsy shop is Mystic Blue Moon Tarot. Mystic Blue Moon Tarot on freaking Etsy, you guys. The Hearts Hidden Secret Oracle. I love this deck, you guys. It's very versatile. Again, a lot of my decks are love related just because those are the decks that I gravitate towards. Honestly, I feel like you can use love oracle decks to explain any situation, even if it's like financial or not love related. I just feel like love oracle decks tend to be more versatile for me. This is the deck. I don't know the freaking name, you guys. I most definitely got it on Etsy. I don't have that account anymore, so I can't go back and look up what the deck is called, but I believe I typed in like vintage or like alien oracle deck on Etsy, you guys. So if you want to just go ahead and check out Etsy and type in like vintage tarot or vintage oracle deck or like an alien oracle deck, I'm sure this will pop up. A lot of people ask me about this deck all the time, and I don't answer you because I genuinely don't know, you guys. The Sacred Soulmates card by Lilith Designs. I again got this on Etsy, you guys. This is from a small business on Etsy, so again, go out and support. It's this deck. This is a relatively new deck, so you guys haven't seen this as much as the other decks, but I do still really appreciate and enjoy this deck. This is another deck you guys have been really interested in. It's the Reconcile edition Oracle deck. I follow this company on freaking Instagram. Just type in Reconciliation Oracle deck on Etsy. I definitely got this from Etsy. This is a small business owned by two beautiful women of color. Okay, you guys, they are literally so stunning. You guys have asked me a lot about this deck, which I understand why. It's freaking, it's everything. Anyways, so there's that. All right, so Heavenly Bodies Astrology Deck by Lily Ashwell. This is my favorite astrology deck, you guys. I use this in almost every single one of my readings. This is a deck that I would 100% purchase over and over and over again. I don't actually remember where this is from, you guys. Again, this was something that was gifted to me from a friend. I didn't ask him where he got it from, but I'm sure if you just type this in on Google, it will pop up somewhere. I highly recommend this deck. Out of all my Oracle decks, you guys, this is my favorite. I'm so sorry, this is my freaking favorite. Definitely go out and get this deck, you guys. Next deck we will go ahead and talk about is the Love Oracle deck by Andromedid Skies. Okay, so just type in Love Oracle deck on Etsy, you guys. Again, it should pop up. It is, you guys actually haven't seen this deck at all. I haven't used it in a reading yet, but it is I Need Time. I still have growing to do. Okay, super cute. I do feel like this deck is pretty accurate. All the times that I've used it, again, I haven't used it in a group reading yet, but I do plan to eventually. Yeah, so I guess you guys should just type in Jane Austen deck on Etsy, because I did also purchase this from Etsy again, you guys, and I don't have the buyer's or the seller's information because, again, I don't have access to that Etsy account anymore. But basically, this is a Jane Austen deck. It just has a bunch of Jane Austen quotes. So if you are a fan, I highly recommend this. Again, I did get this on Etsy, you guys, and I'm pretty sure if you just type in Jane Austen Oracle deck, it should pop up. Another deck I highly recommend, you guys. This is the Numis Astro Deck by Ruby Warrington and Bess Matas. Highly recommend. You guys can see the back for the artwork. I use this deck all the time. It's one of my favorite decks. Honestly, all of my astrology oracle decks are my favorite oracle decks, and they're decks that I would purchase again and again and again, just because for me, astrology and tarot makes sense when they're intertwined for me. Like, it's easier for me to read when I'm using more astrology decks versus when I'm using more of like the Green Witch Oracle or a Love Oracle. I enjoy those decks, but astrology decks are my vibe. Okay, you guys, so this is a yes or no deck, which obviously I got this deck for like readings and stuff. I think I've used it like 3 or 4 times. I just haven't used it that much. I bought this on Etsy, so again, you can just type in yes or no decks on Etsy, but I believe the shop's name is V Love Crystals. Pretty sure that's the shop's name. That's what it says here on the card. We have the Sacred Power reading cards. This is another really spiritual deck, you guys. So if you are not into doing like spiritually based readings, this may not be the deck for you. As you can see here, like one of the first cards that is here is like Source, okay? Affirmations, okay? Intimacy. I don't use this deck very often. I guess if it wasn't in my collection, I wouldn't, I don't know. I don't think I would notice if it wasn't in my collection. If it suddenly went missing, I'm not sure I would notice. But it is a useful deck, especially if you have like a smaller collection. I just feel like so many of my decks are repeating messages, so I tend to look for decks with more uniqueness these days. So I'm not saying this deck isn't unique, it's just not necessarily out of the ordinary, right? Talk about this one real quick, you guys. This is the Romance Angel Oracle deck. Again, everybody has this deck. I suggest you go out and buy, I don't think you can buy the original anymore. I don't support the author or the publisher of this deck. She has renounced all of her work, and just there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on with this person, which is fine. Love and light to her, sending her blessings. However, I don't think you can buy the original copy of this deck anymore. This is a knockoff, which I'm happy because the money doesn't go to her. I obviously don't want to support somebody who renounces their work. I was considering getting rid of this deck, you guys. I did get rid of another one of her decks that I had just because it was, I believe, the original artwork. And I just don't want that energy in my collection. But because this is a knockoff, I feel a little bit better. You guys have seen this deck in every single tarot reader's collection. Everybody has this deck. It's a good staple deck. It really is. Just not the author. And I'm not going to get into why, but if you're interested in that, you can go look it up yourself. No shade, no tea. Alright, we have the Enchanted Blossoms deck by Carla Marlowe. Carla Marlowe, okay. Very Sons of Anarchy. I believe someone's last name was Marlowe there, right? Maybe not. This is my little dragon deck. I love this deck. It's so freaking cute. Again, this is the deck I use more like for personal situations. I don't really use this deck as much when I'm doing group readings, but I love it. It's cute. Recommend. Got the magical spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Lucy Cavendish. This is the second deck I believe of yours that I have. This is that deck with the okay, it's fine. With this on the back and freaking, this is so unorganized. Magical powers, has a little spell cards on it. Romance, okay. Healing. I love this deck, you guys. This is one of those decks that I would definitely recommend and definitely repurchase in a heartbeat, even for just my own personal collection. I love this deck. We have the Black Moon Astrology cards. Oh, I got this deck on Amazon. I couldn't find it anywhere else, you guys. I really do try to stay away from Amazon, but I couldn't find this deck anywhere else. We have the Black Moon Astrology cards by Susan Shepard. Highly recommend this deck. Again, any of my astrology decks, you guys, I'm going to always recommend just because I feel like astrology decks are, I don't know, they just make sense in every situation and every reading. I feel like there's not a reading where you can't use an astrology deck or it's not fitting to use an astrology deck. There's Saturn. Love this deck. Gorgeous deck. Highly recommend. I did buy this at a local shop near me, so yeah, but I'm sure you can find it other places. We have the Love Oracle deck. I got this on Etsy, you guys. This is like 75 cards. I haven't used this on camera, you guys, because sometimes I get a deck and I need to like bond with it and spend time with it before I use it on other people. Are you gonna open up for me, babe? I personally have found a lot of luck with this deck and a lot of accurate readings with this deck for myself. It just has little words on it, which are my favorite because I feel like these are more open to interpretation. It says, talk to me. I feel whole with you. I'm afraid of you. I get lost in your eyes. I want you. Okay. Super cute, super vintage-esque. Again, it is a more like, to me, like a unique looking deck. It doesn't look like all my other decks, which is what I now go for. Obviously, we have the Moonology deck. Everybody has this deck. I will just go ahead and show y'all real quick. Personal issues reach a resolution, full moon in Cancer. Everybody has this deck again. You can get it anywhere. Amazon, Etsy. I'm sure you can go to a local shop near you and find it. Everybody has this deck. It's beautiful. Again, it's an astrology deck, so for me, it's a staple. For me, it's a necessary, like, I need astrology decks in my collection. We have the Magic of You Oracle by Fiona Horn, or Horn, sorry. This is one of my favorite decks, you guys, and it is a darker deck. It's a more intense deck. It's not going to give you pretty bubblegum, unicorn, and rainbows messages, which is my preference. When I'm doing readings for myself and when I'm doing personal readings, I prefer to have something that's a little bit more gritty and a little bit more serious. But this is liberation. I don't use this deck as much anymore in my group readings because I do find that people have a more difficult time receiving harsher messages in group readings, which I understand. So I tend to not use this as much in my group readings anymore. But this is one of my favorite decks and I love it. I would recommend it to literally anybody, especially those of you who are not afraid of your shadow or you're comfortable with like exploring that side of yourself. So the second to last deck we have here, you guys, is the Crystal Grid deck, and this is an 80 card deck, and this is my crystal deck, and I find it very useful. I don't use it very often because it's hard to shuffle on camera. But yeah, it's like fluorite. We got malachite here. We got coconuts. Don't know. We got some satin spar. Okay. Pink fluorite. We love her. All right. Highly recommend this deck. Also on this deck, you guys, it has like, you guys can't really see. It has like different zodiac signs and planets connected to it, which is another reason why I really love this deck. Now, I have one more deck to show you guys, and it is in my purse because I was taking it like around with me, so give me a second. This is another one from Etsy, and I don't know the name or the creator of this deck, but just type in Shadow Work Oracle deck on Etsy and it will pop up. It should pop up. The back looks like this. Gorgeous, stunning. And I haven't used this deck on camera again, you guys, but I really do love this for personal work. It says, arrogant if you're insecure or fear rejection. This behavior surfaces. Work on accepting your true self and give yourself love as you are needing it. I love this deck. I think shadow work is so important, you guys, and that's what this deck really is focused on. It is a shadow work deck, so that's why I love it. Gorgeous. Highly recommend if you are into shadow work or if you are currently in the process of trying to work through your shadow or understand your shadow or accept your shadow, however you want to phrase that. But that is all of my oracle and tarot cards so far. So yeah, I hope that helped. Etsy is where it's at. Go support the small businesses out there. If you have to give money to Bezos, then I guess you can do that, but I avoid it as much as I possibly can. Okay, strong. Yeah, that's what I got, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know what else to say, but there you go. Okay, toodaloo.